One of the most amazing things about our planet is that it's the only place that we know of that has life, or living things. And living things come in all different shapes and sizes. So we can say that living things are diverse. And we're going to look at lots of different types of living things and then decide how we know whether something is living or not. So here are some pictures of living things. We have some bilbies here, which is a small mammal that lives in the desert in Australia. And then in this one we have some bacteria, which are the smallest types of living things. They're microscopic and they live everywhere. They live inside our bodies, they live in rocks, on the ground. You can find bacteria everywhere. In this picture we have some eucalyptus trees, which are some of the most common trees in Australia. There are thousands of species of eucalyptus. And there's also grass here. Here we're in a coral reef and we can see a clownfish, which are really special because they have evolved the ability to live inside anemones, which normally will sting fish, but clownfish are immune to the stinging, so they have a special relationship where they can survive. We also have this plant here, the common heath, which is actually the floral emblem of Victoria, the state in Australia. This is a picture of some diatoms, which are microscopic again, and even just the diatoms, you can see how diverse they are. Some of them are round or triangular, and diatoms make up a lot of the plankton, which are important in the oceans for fish and other things to eat. In this picture we can see a native bee. Australia actually has lots of native bees that aren't the normal honeybees that have actually come from another country. And here we have a tiger snake, really venomous, but still important in the ecosystem in Australia. So looking at all these different types of life, even though they seem so diverse, we can find a way to know whether something is living or not. And what we're going to do is use this method for deciding if something's living or not. And the method is some letters called Mr. NC GREWW. And if you can remember these letters, then you can remember how to find out if something is living or not. So the M stands for move. Does that thing walk or fly or swim? Because every living thing can move in some way, even if it just means turning, like a plant turning its leaf to one side. The R stands for reproduce. And every living thing reproduces in some way to make new offspring. The N stands for nutrition, which basically means does that thing eat like an animal eats other things, or does it absorb nutrients? Because every living thing needs nutrients to live and survive. The C stands for cells, and every living thing is made up of cells, which if you look into a microscope at something living, you can see small cells that make up every living thing. The cells might be different depending on the type of living thing, but everything's made of cells that's living. G stands for grow, which basically means getting older. So every living thing grows, gets older, and then dies eventually. The R stands for respond, and we often say responds to stimuli. And a stimulus is just something that we can sense. So things like hearing, touching, and seeing. Those are all stimuli that we can sense and then decide what to do about it. We can respond. E stands for exchange gases. And this just means breathing. Or if you don't have lungs, you can absorb oxygen, because every living thing needs oxygen. The next one is W, which stands for wastes. And everything living needs to get rid of its waste. And in animals, that means getting rid of our urine. Finally, there's actually another W, and this stands for water, because every single living thing needs water. Either we need to drink it, or we need to just live in the water, like sea animals need to. So if we need to check whether something is living or not, we just need to remember Mr. NC GREWW, and if something ticks off each one of these, then we know that it's living. Finally, one word that you will hear a lot when we're studying biology is organism. And organism just means a living thing. So humans are organisms, a tiger snake, a bee, a clownfish, and grass, these are all organisms.